We are Sally and Ed, and up until recently, we were traveling the world and sharing our adventures here on YouTube. Since we can't travel overseas at the moment, we thought we would take this opportunity to explore more of our beautiful home country, Australia. So, we bought a 2015 Mercedes Sprinter, which we are currently self-converting into a tiny home on wheels so that we can begin our next big adventure. So, something that we're kind of learning throughout this process is that things take a little bit longer than you anticipate. Today, we're starting to build our floor. Up until this point, we've been prepping, we've been sound dampening, and we haven't really used a whole lot of power tools or really done a lot of structural work. So we're doing that today, so I'm pretty excited, but I'm also a little bit nervous. I think this is gonna be really telling as to how hard this van conversion actually is gonna be. I mean, up until this point, it's been very, very, very easy, so we'll see.
When we first picked up the van, it was an empty shell, which means we need to build everything, including the floor. So our floor is made out of 12mm ply that we just picked up from our local hardware store, and we used the mat in the van in order to trace a template. Now, fortunately for us, our van actually came with a cargo mat already in here, which was the perfect size and the perfect shape for our floor. So what we did was pulled that out of the van, traced over it to create 4 individual square templates that we could then mesh together a bit like a puzzle in order to build our van floor.
What are you doing?
I'm gonna trace it out.
So if our step doesn't fit,
It's
you're
my
to blame.
fault. Okay.
Okay.
Hey!
Boom.
Boom! She fits!
It's not perfect, but I think it'll probably do.
Ed just cut out this bit here and this bit over here, and now she fits like a glove. Good job!
Almost like a glove. Yay for tools.
We built a floor.
So far, so good. Let's go to the next piece.
Cool.
You ready?
We have half a floor.
Woo!
Yeah.
You put yours in square.
There we go.
Beautiful.
It's not, it doesn't fit.
That's it.
Oh no, it does.
Yours is all the way up.
We were so close to having it done, but it doesn't fit by this much, so we'll be back.
Come on. Sit it out.
So we did have to keep bringing the wood in the van, checking it, tracing over it, and going back and making minor adjustments to make all 4 pieces fit, like that magic puzzle that we were trying to make it fit like. Get in there.
All the way up.
Yep.
Camera up and down.
So we put the flooring down, but I guess one thing that we didn't account for in our first measurements are that the van is not completely straight. So I'll show you what I mean. Bits down here and here where it's just not straight.
This brings us to day 2, which was raising the floor. So we went to our local hardware store, we picked up some 25 by 35 millimeter battens, and we cut them to size and almost created a bit of like a grid or lattice layout on the floor. Just creating some spaces. So we need each of our floor supports to be 450 apart so that the floor is correctly balanced. So I'm just going through and creating a bunch of these so that we can space the floor properly. That way we don't get any bends, we don't get any breakage, and the ply stays nice and strong.
Whoa.
Big.
I feel like I did stuff today.
Nearly finished it.
Nice.
Alrighty, so the way we did the floor is in these 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces, and we did that because all of these edges are machine cut, so they all kind of tessellate beautifully, and then we'll be able to fix them here in the center of my shoe, and everything's going to be nice and sturdy. But I think it looks pretty good.
I think good job.
That is the floor raised. That is the floor risen. The floor has risen. Good Lord Jesus.
How you feeling now? Is it like clearance?
Yeah, I think this is, I don't know, what do you guys think? Do you think that's high enough? Do you think that's enough clearance once we bring the roof down? It's gonna be close.
So now we built the floor. We had cut all this wood. It was looking so good, and we were honestly like just so impressed that we'd built this floor. Now I know what you guys are probably thinking, Sally, it's just a floor, but for 2 people who don't build stuff, we were pretty impressed. The only problem was we sort of realized after we'd cut all of the wood, after we'd put the plywood on top, that actually perhaps 35 millimeter battens were too big, like too high. It's just under 6 foot, and we didn't really want to lose too much height in the van because, well, Ed doesn't want to have to like crouch down in here. I'll show you what I mean. So, you know, it would have been like this, which doesn't leave a whole lot of space above his head.
Especially given we're actually going to put cladding on the roof here and build down. So the space between my head and the roof just gets smaller and smaller and smaller. So we decided that maybe this was too big and that maybe we should use something else.
So now this brings us to day 3 of building our floor and, well, raising our floor 2.0.
So we are planning on keeping this timber, and we're going to try and reuse a lot of it in some of the framing that we use for maybe some of our cupboards or our bed, because it is quite good, it is quite strong. If height isn't an issue, then I would definitely go this and then just get some thicker insulation, but it's just not worked out for us. So hopefully today's floor installation is going to be much quicker. We've just picked up a drop saw from a friend, our neighbor. He's an awesome dude. Ian, thank you very much. And so hopefully we'll just be able to measure everything out, just slide it through and then chop it down.
Progress update number 275.
275. So we're up to the very end of the van. We've spaced all of the battens by 450. And the cross pieces are all going to be 450 in length, but we're just trying to work out what to do at the end here. Because it is going to be the end of the floor, there's going to be a lot of pressure on it and we don't want the floor to crumble. So we've decided we're actually going to do 2 bits at the end, so it is nice and secure. And we'll go flush up against here. I'm just starting to work out how much I need to take off the corners so that it fits nicely. And then we'll be able to put the cross pieces in. And happy days.
Happy day. Floor is coming together.
So that took a little bit longer than I thought, but it's now in, everything's coated. We're not sticking the floor down today because we've got a shower cubicle coming in a couple of days. And so I want to see the shower cubicle in place first to make sure it's all going to fit. before we attach the floor to the van.
So after we raised the floor, raising the floor 2.0, we did it so much quicker than in the first day that we actually had the whole entire afternoon free. So we basically decided that we were gonna insulate our floor. What we're gonna do is we're gonna cut our insulation to the sizes of the gaps, and it's basically gonna create one solid floor. So when we put our plywood over the top, it'll just be one solid floor. So we're not actually gonna be sticking our floor down today, but we are gonna have all of the pieces cut to size. And then once our shower arrives and we check that it's all good and everything's gonna fit all good, then we're gonna stick all the floor down, because it's gonna be a lot easier to do it that way rather than the shower arriving, realizing that we made some wrong measurements, which, you know, is possible, and then having to rip the floor up and start again. To insulate our floor, we used 20mm foil board that we just picked up from Bunnings. Now, I'm not gonna lie, it wasn't super easy to work with. It's kind of a polystyrene type of material, and when we cut it, bits went everywhere. It felt a little bit flimsy, I'm not gonna lie. But the thing is, it is one of the cheapest options in terms of board insulation, which is kind of why we went with it.
So something for you to just keep in mind when you are building your van is that it is a little bit of a complicated process, and there are some things that you will need to go back and fix, and you probably won't get right the first time like us. Well, maybe you'll get it right, but we didn't get it right the first time. And so it is just really important to not get disheartened when it doesn't work. I'll be honest, I got pretty frustrated trying to get the wheel arches to fit, and it's still not 100% to my liking, but you know, it is just one of those things where you have to try it, you have to look at it, you have to think critically, and then go back and try again. So, you know, please don't get disheartened if you're thinking about building a van or you're wanting to build a van and you think maybe you won't be able to do it. You know, you will be able to do it. It's just, you'll just need to go slow, like us. You know, we've taken 4 days to do a floor. So, you know,
But doesn't it look good now?
Yeah, it does.
It's such a good looking floor now.
It looks great, and you know, I'm so happy with it. So
I'm actually so proud of us, and I'm so impressed that we built this floor. We built a floor.
Yeah, first floor we've ever built.
Good
first
job.
floor I've ever built.
High five to that.
Ooh,
oh my god.
It's gonna smack me in the face.
This bad boy. This is what we're installing today. Oh, I just threw stuff everywhere. Oh dear.
I'm about to cut the hole out of the roof.
Look, there's a hole in our roof.
Should I do it? I
Do
can't
what?
help myself. Everyone does it.
Do what?
I'm gonna put my head through the hole.
Go on, put your head through the hole.
I feel like it's one of those experiences. It's the first one I've done.
Just putting your head through a hole in the van.
I have to do it.